And welcome back to another episode of the HU and Beyond podcast, presented by you on HU Enrichment. As always, for your hosts, this week is your boy Steve. Marilyn's out for the time, so it's all Gucci. But today on HU Beyond, the guest we have on is Georgiana. So, Georgiana, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. No problem. We always enjoy having a lot of cool cats on our podcast. So I want to kind of dive into you, get to know you a little bit, so our audience at home gets to know you as well. So tell me about yourself. First and foremost, where are you from? And are you currently in college or post college? Like, where are you at in life?
I'm originally from Jamaica, but I call Huntsville, Alabama my home right now. I'm still attending college. I'm still technically a computer science student at Alabama A&M University, but I'm looking to transfer to another school in the next the next winter. Just for a new change of pace and also to continue a bit of my research.
Oh, okay, okay. I about to say I can hear the Jamaican in you. I'm half Jamaican, so I got a lot of family who are from the lovely. I was about to say city country. I'm tripping. But okay, so you're a college student. You're thinking of transferring. Do you have a specific place you're transferring in mind yet, or you just kind of like just wait it out?
I have a lot of family in Atlanta, so Spelman, Clark, Atlanta. And there's a few schools that are near me in Huntsville that I'm just looking at right now for any options.
Okay, okay. Hey, look, man, it's the process. I mean, as well, I'm an alumni, so I can't really relate to your situation, but I can still relate in the prospect of just college, college 101, and I can understand the process is crazy, but transferring, especially given where you're trying to transfer to, could be a little bit tricky. But hey, if you this thing called life works out in mysterious ways, so I think you'll be just fine. From the way you sound like you're doing just fine with it. So let's kind of dive into really life growing up for you. So you said you were originally from Jamaica, but you called I forgot what you just said. What did you call
Huntsville,
home?
Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah,
Wait, you're Alabama? A Jamaican girl that lives in Alabama.
because
That
it's
is
cheap.
interesting.
Alabama is so cheap for
So
education and housing.
so tell me how about life growing up there?
I when I immigrated, I disliked Alabama very much. I really did not like it, because I grew up on the countryside of Jamaica. So when I was a
Mm,
little kid, I did not like Alabama that much because I grew up in a kind of a city. Huntsville's pretty much of a almost like a city without the budget. So it takes like different elements from like popular urban cities to get like young adults, but they don't fully like commit to it. Uh,
mm.
so I really did enjoy Alabama. Made some great friends in high school, but that's not where I call my that's not where I call home. Uh,
Okay. Okay. I mean, hey, look. I mean, I think it's always a different change of pace when you go from one place to another. Especially, granted, you went from a place like Jamaica, and the my because my parents always talk about it because my dad grew up in Kingston, my mom grew up in Montego Bay.
I'm
So,
from Montego Bay.
oh, you're from Montego Bay. Holy crap, my mom would probably love you. Um, but like they would always tell me about like growing up there and all the stuff they would do and all the craziness. I mean, even times where when they went to visit, they'll come back home with suitcases full of stuff that I had no idea what it was. Like cane, like sugar cane. I didn't know
Mhm,
what that was
yeah.
at all for the longest until I was like 10. So yeah, that tells you my culture style in terms of because I've been to Jamaica before as a kid, but it's just my memory is not that great as a kid. But that's his own little principle. But you know, but the not the really shock. Culture shock could be a factor, but like if you just don't feel the community or the vibe there in the city you're in, you're just never gonna fit that much in. So, but okay, you basically that place wasn't it. You're going to high school, you made some friends. So when you let's talk about your high school life a little bit. I know a lot of us do not like talking about high school life, but because it's a little bit of a divergent topic, but like nowadays is a little different from our time. But during your time in high school, like specifically towards the end point when it came to college, like did your school help you a lot in that process, or was that really mainly more on you?
I would say so for the college that I picked, so I originally wanted to go to Cornell, but I knew I didn't have the money to even do the fee application, like, for the application for Cornell, so I was just like, "You know what? I'm gonna choose an in-state, college," and when I got the college, 'cause, thankfully got a lot of scholarships, I got a Google scholarship, from, like I don't know how from the application, but I wrote a really weird application letter for them, and I got the scholarship. Um, but I went to Alabama A&M, and I chose that, and no one in my school was just like they were like, "Oh, are you going to Alabama A&M?" Because it was nearby my high school, and no one really had any, like, positive, like, HBCUs at the time, because Alabama A&M is historically Black college, no one really had any, like, positive views about, going to an HBCU. However, I decided to go because a lot of my other friends at the time was going to another university, and I knew that university was way overpriced for the curriculum that my friends were receiving. And so I think around that time, I think I'm the only one of my friends that probably didn't drop out of college because of just loans and like financial situations. Because I chose a real
Mhm.
like school that was in my like my rate of like what I'm willing to pay for. And I remember when I was younger, I used to be really scared of loans from playing like Animal Crossing. um, and so like I grew up with like a natural fear of loans, so I did not want to take out a loan for college. So thankfully, like with scholarships and everything, my I have never had to take out a loan for my university, for my education for A&M, sorry. So I'm grateful for that, but in high school, ugh, yeah, I probably needed more help or some extra guidance.
Okay. There's a lot I want to dive into that point because you gave me a lot of free. So first and foremost, I'm pretty sure that college that a lot of people went that was more expensive is probably Bama. Like in general, just Alabama University. Like, look, let's be real here.
Okay,
Alabama.
so it was University of Alabama and also University of Alabama, Birmingham.
See,
Uh,
that was worse. See, like look, man. I got some. I know some cats that went to Bama. I know how it is. Like, it looked nice. It's just football. It's just the football. It's
I
football.
have toured in, Bama's campus. It's a nice campus, but it's not worth the money if you're not, like even if you're a sports fan, what are you paying for?
Okay, so there's so to kind of give you a little funny story while we're on the topic of college because it is indeed so when I was applying I got invited to seven of them. Out of the seven I got accepted to all of them. One of them was Ivy League. Now I'm
Ooh,
originally from the lovely city of Philadelphia, you know, so the Ivy League in question, since there I think there are like two of them next near to us, I think it was crap, UPenn. Okay,
mhm.
so now first and foremost, I live in the city, so I've seen UPenn's campus. Um, no disrespect to anyone who goes to UPenn who listens to this podcast. It's just look, I lived in the city, so I know what it is. And if you were someone from like New York coming to Philly, that's different. Then it's like you got that different culture. I lived in the city. You think I want to go for another 4 years in college? That is not. I wanted a new change of scene. So, I was grateful to get and put into Ivy League, but like one, they only gave me enough scholarship for like a year's worth of
Ah,
education. So it was like like my school made a big deal about me getting accepted into it, but me personally, I'm like, guys, I'm not trying to chase no freaking a financial debt. I'm trying to chase the bag free. Like that's where I'm at. So, that's why I ended up here at Harrisburg University and graduated here back in 2020. Um, so, I'm not surprised a lot of your friends are going to the financial woes because I mean, I don't like debt. No, I think no one likes debt really. I mean, the average college student, because there were statistics about this. They would graduate probably like what 30 grand in debt, and that's just the starter package. I mean, you got to think about those who want to be doctors and everything. That's even worse.
Yeah.
Um, so I can understand truly how your friends were going through it, and some of them who aren't even in school no more. But I mean, that's why it's always good to know that schools were pushing for. Well, my school was pushing for like, hey, man, look, if college is not it, there's some good trades, man. There's some really good trades. But
I
I think it
wish my
depends.
school did that. They were so, they weren't so okay, certain teachers were, like, pro trade school, but I felt
Mm.
like a lot of teachers looked down on it, uh, which sucks, 'cause I felt like a lot of students probably would have done great in trade, if they gotten the opportunity to do it.
No, nah. See, I think yeah, 'cause I think that's where your area plays a role. Because like, there's a well, then that would be no. I would feel I would ironically say that Bam, Alabama, like that area would probably push more for like trade than college. But then when you infuse a lot of colleges around your regions, the different. So,
Mhm.
with my area, it's like they were like, look, either you're going to college, you're going to community college, or you're doing some type of trade, or you just jumping right into the workforce. So, obviously I have some friends just go straight into the workforce. Some just went to trade school. My dad was a big advocate of that because of his life in Jamaica. He grew up on a farm. So,
Ah.
yeah, that's like the life of Jamaicans that my dad would tell me, like, "Dad, I don't think everyone on Jamaica grew up in a farm like you did, but
Okay,
okay."
that's so funny because my dad and my mom grew up on a farm, so
See, never mind. I might be wrong about that. So because he would always talk to me about farm life, how people try to steal his goats and everything, and I'm like, "That's really a thing. Y'all gonna steal goats? That's
yeah, it's
fun."
common,
It's yeah, I never thought about it, so I actually saw with my own eyes as a kid seeing someone try to steal my dad's goats, and I'm like, "Dude, y'all are weird, like, a goat?" But, it's interesting, but, but my dad per se, he really was an advocate for me to do construction working because he taught me up as a, basically this a handyman. I know how to
mhm,
build a house from the ground up because he taught me that because he did it as a kid himself. So I think that factor kind of had a family aspect too pushing me, but then my school was also advocating for it as well a little bit, even though they're a college ready school.
mhm.
But I think when schools don't do that, you're gonna have results like this where there can be some a lot of kids that just drop out. And then you won't really, on a statistic matter, you won't really count that because you're going to count the ones. Oh yeah, I'm gonna count. You just did it for 1 year, and then they're straight. That's it. That's all you're gonna
Yeah.
count. So, you know, but that's the unfortunate reality. So that's why, hey, college is a business, and I will say that on every episode of this podcast when we mention college. Even though, ironically enough, our podcasts are presented to you by a college. This is a college alumni telling you that, hey, this is a business. Learn the trade. So, or just come to college knowing that rather or not you're gonna be in debt, because that's the thing. Everyone's walking around with a number above their head of how much they're in the minus.
I
Eh,
would say that I've been very, like, grateful that one of the funniest thing is, like, my parents get on my butt about it so often because I often, like, do gap semesters, so to do internships, because that's how I make money. Either I do, like, a internship or I just do really short freelancing, on the side, and that's literally how I make money, and that's, like, I guess it's the same reason why I had, like, I guess the company that I have now to, like,
Okay.
kind of funnel my whole thing.
And that is something I want to touch on a little bit because I know because fun like I said, people, we got a little our guest is really amazing for a cool reason today. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. But I want to end this kind of college thing with um, asking you the final college related question. So, after picking that college, because it sounded like more from the financial point, which was a smart idea. Um, talking to me about you kind of your first year. Like, how was that experience for you?
Okay, so my first year was very lonely.
Mm,
I did not really make a ton of friends on campus because I was commuting at the same time. I did
okay.
not wanna pay for a dorm at all, and so I commuted back and forth, because I just had a car and also, um I think around that time, I was still doing, like, almost like a side internship as well. So I was doing a lot. Like, I was probably having a lot of, like, panic attacks, because of doing competitions and hackathons and trying to do a lot of recruitment for it, because I was really, like, so gung-ho and focused on getting an internship during the summer and also for next semester. It was like a wreck. I shoulda have relaxed.
You really should have, from the sounds of it. You sound like one of my friends who in the or they kind of OD'd themselves because they were also a computer science major. They love coding like the back of their hand. And one day I find this dude like probably like what it was like midnight in the library just sleeping in there, and I'm like, bro, I'm taking you back to your dorm. Like, we can't do this, man. This is kind of bad. It was like this third time. And he's like, no, I gotta perfect this code. I got this. I'm like, dude, the code will be there. You won't. So let's freaking move you behind to your room. So I understand the hustle of it. But I mean, I think moments like those pay off, but then also you gotta be mindful that you don't want to ever put yourself to be having to do that constantly in a position of
It's
future reference.
That is true. I don't really think that sometimes those things even pay off sometimes, because now, like, the hustle of trying to, like, get that first year Google internship or Facebook internship, oftentimes, like, a lot of those internships there's a lot of, like, mess with, like, recruitment and just, like, trying to do projects on like, finishing on time, like, sometimes I wish that, more colleges were completely honest about their, code curriculum, because it's like this is either meant for kids who have either started coding in high school, and it sometimes is not worth it for like a freshman to be crying or like they're like just having a terrible time for their first year because they just need to catch up. I was lucky that I learned how to code in high school, but still, like, it's not fair, that that skill needs to be taught, that people who thrive in that environment had that skill earlier on than other people who just started the major, so
Oh no, you're 100% right. I mean, look, I had to take coding classes because it's part of my major. And well, my major was like one of those majors where you learn different aspects
mhm.
about different mediums. And so, I had to take some coding classes. And I salute those who can actually do it pretty well. I can do pretty basic stuff, but I can't do anything of the long term where it's a lot more back end stuff. But it's a lot of thing to process, and it got to be something you start really at an earlier time point than just starting off in college. Like that's something you start in high school, maybe as a after school program. Then go into college to be like, yeah, here's your big load down here of all this information. So, but hearing that for you, it sounds like your freshman year was a pretty wonky one. I've heard similar stories on our podcast, which you flow, about students having that similar experience as well. And I mean, it kind of reflects about not just you as an individual, but it reflects upon the big college problem when it's like the college you picked is just not what you think it is, or the mindset or whatever maybe vision you had of college life is not what you actually thought it was. But when you get to that point, you just got to make do with what you got.
Mhm.
And kind of fast forward to where we are now, you've kind of done a lot of cool things here. So first and foremost, let's kind of just bring it out there. Let's talk about Launch U, because that, for those at home, I'll give you a basic overview. Launch U is a competition started here at Harrisburg University of Science and Technology. Here, started by guys at the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. Our boy Jay, he's the head of the whole thing. He does his little cool thing. Shout out to Jay and Jamal as well. So let's kind of hop into it. So tell me, how the hell did you hear about Launch U?
I literally found it through Twitter. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So it was you saw a tweet about it, and he was like, "All right, I'll check it out."
Actually, I was like, so I was really trying to find funding for my startup, like when it was just like idea stage. And
Mhm.
so I went on Twitter. And I was just like, startup competition, student startup competitions, just using those keywords, constantly on Twitter every like week, trying to find opportunities. And then I found Launch.
Okay, we no, that's advertising. Look, that's what we do. social media. We push it out there. You find it, and then we make it. We look. If you win, we make your dreams come true. Essentially. So okay. So you found us through Twitter. Then you got into the competition, and then you won. So, I mean, well, let's walk through the competition. So after I guess you applied, well, what happened next for you?
I got like saying like, oh, you are a part of the launch you competition, you'll get a mentor. And so at the same time, I was just like, oh my god, I didn't even realize I would get in. Let me let me be serious about this. Because during that time, I think I was doing like so. Oh my god. So when I submitted it and I got like kind of the schedule of how things are gonna be, basically I was still figuring out exactly what I want to do. And I think around launch U time, I was also doing accelerator applications. Like it was a whole like I was doing a lot during the whole like launch U process.
You are
So I was given
insane.
a mentor as well. But I can like dive in a little bit more about the whole like competition timeline and how I like messed everything up on my end.
Uh,
Yet still won.
yeah. So, cause yeah, well, I know what accelerators are. I've seen people do them, and again, salute to you guys, cause I'm not doing that. I mean, I've done kind of similar stuff, but it wasn't as worse as accelerators. And while we're on the topic of accelerators, would you mind explaining to the folks at home what they are, just so they know?
Um, s okay, so an accelerator, depending on, like, what type of startup you are, basically, it's almost like an accelerated business program. So certain accelerators are paid, certain accelerators give prestige, but basically, they're almost like they hyper grow your startup, to whatever goal you want to achieve, during that accelerator period. So the accelerator I was accepted to was Bronze Valley. It's super prestigious in Alabama. We don't really have a lot of accelerator programs or startup resources in Alabama. So Bronze Valley picked me. I think I was like their one of two student startups out of the 3 years they've been in Alabama. So that was really cool. So yeah.
Preach. I mean, hey, that's more life to you. I mean, look, the fact that one of two is a very prestigious honor. So, claps for you for sure on that one. So you're now that people at home know what accelerators are, please know that it's very tricky. So for those who are interested in doing those, you got it. I respect you guys because you go and you're shooting for the stars. I'm shooting for the mini stars. But now I'm hearing, okay, you got accelerators going on. You just found out, oh, I'm being a mentor. I'm doing this competition. What's going on at this point?
So I think around that time I did like a short like beta of Paper AI. So the startup that I'm working on um was basically Paper AI, which uses GPT-3, which is a natural language processing model created by OpenAI, a very powerful AI startup. Now it's this corporation. And I used GPT-3 to create customizable stories, and I was catering towards fans. Like my first the first group I launched towards were BTS fans, so I was just basically creating fan fiction for their favorite singers. But basically, I was just doing beta testing for that, and I did a pretty good run. I had a pretty good run of a good chunk of users who were interested in my product, like for the first month. So
Okay. So look, I mean, if you get K-pop fans involved in your thing, 9 times out of 10, you'll get some good data. I mean, hey, man, BTS is a good starter. I mean, BTS, in my opinion, they're all right. Am I a fan? Maybe. Um, I like a lot of K-pop groups. They're not in my top. Well, they're in my top 10 sometimes, but it's okay. But
they're
no, I
not in
mean,
my top 10 either. I grew up on like older K-pop, but I
I
still
mean,
respect them
I,
because
yeah, I get. I mean, I got into K-pop because of EXO, so that's how I got into.
ah
Yeah, because like I mean, I think was what 2013, 2012. I think I just saw a video on YouTube named I think it was like Growl by EXO, and then I'm like, oh, these guys look kind of cool. The dance is nice, and then I started to look up to other groups. I looked at Big Bang, Ghost Generation.
Big Bang.
Um,
Ah, girl. Okay, so I
Uh,
really love The Big Bang and I loved Girl Generation, and I'm like, okay, I don't like people seeing that I'm like a mega fan.
oh no, you don't. Oh, whoa, don't hide that. That's not a thing to hide. We don't hide that here on the H and Beyond podcast. We talk about things, and what pops up, it pops up. If you're a K-pop fan, you meet a K-pop fan here. Your host is a K-pop fan. I mean, I got my one of my best friends who lives out in Florida. She loves K-pop. And I'll tell you about it after the podcast. But I did something really cool for her birthday. But essentially, she got spoiled, and she doesn't know how I did it. But like I said, I'll tell you about it after the podcast because it's a longer story. And obviously, I don't want to tear off too off to the podcast for people who are not fans of K-pop. But hey, if you listen to the podcast and you're not a fan of K-pop, if you need to
Come
listen to something,
on.
check out Damn, I need to think of someone who's like someone who's a good starter package. Okay, listen to Big Bang. Just look up Big Bang on YouTube. That's a good starter package. But to kind of get back on topic, so you use BTS to help you get some data for your lovely little business concept, did some good results. So
Mhm.
let's kind of just hop into the competition aspect of it because you had this mentor. Wait, first and foremost, who was your mentor and how well did that person help you in this competition?
I think my mentor okay, hold on, I actually have to check, because I think my mentor was Sharon Ryan, and shout out to her because I was a pretty bad mentee because I was all over the place, I did not get a chance to meet with her before the competition, so that
Wait,
was
what?
my bad.
Wait, hold up. Wait, you won it even not? Whoa, wait. You won the competition even at no point you ever. Okay, so
It was my fault.
conflict of scheduling.
ISIS, so okay, so basically, I was just like, okay, uh, it's nice to meet you. I didn't follow up with her scheduling me. It was literally my bad
Oh,
because
okay.
so during that time, I had the accelerator program. I also had like, okay, this was my fault because I overfilled myself during like the entire during this entire thing. So basically, during the launch youth competition, I was also starting my Apple internship as well. So accelerator program, Apple internship, and also I think I got the results. So I was a semi-finalist for Pharrell's Black Ambition Prize. So if you don't know who Pharrell is, he's a really amazing producer, rapper. He's a great musician overall. But he also has a competition called Black Ambition Prize, and I applied for as a college student underneath one of his divisions, and I think I got accepted as a semifinalist during that time. And so Black Ambition Prize, oh, that one was a lot of time being put in because I had to put in a lot of paperwork and also like a lot of like, oh, that was that one. That one gave me a hit, but that was like a whole. I was just not getting anything together because the apprenticeship required me to move to New York. Had to do a bunch of scheduling for an accelerator and for the Pharrell, and so when I was just like, "Oh dang, I completely forgot to contact my mentor before rehearsals." Oops.
Okay, so yeah, I see why you didn't meet them. And I mean, yeah, Perel, yeah, definitely know who that is. I mean, who doesn't know Happy, at least in this generation? If you don't know that song Happy, come on, guys. Or well, if you OG, you know a lot of his old stuff too. But like,
The
Happy,
Neptunes.
exactly. Like you got to know like if you know he's done, but then Happy, I think is like a prime example. If you never heard that song, especially his 24-hour one, then come on, guys. But okay, so you were doing a lot of stuff around the same time you're doing the competition, and you were trying to do a balancing act of it. Sometimes it was working, sometimes it wasn't. But essentially, you go into this competition with this idea you have. You never met your mentor, which is even funnier to me. But then it's like even greater to hear that minus the mentor, you still went and won the damn thing. So you know, if from my memory, and correct me if I'm wrong, you kind of just present this to a group of panelists, and they kind of
Mhm.
just like, do they critique you on stuff, or they just listen and just give you feedback or something?
they listened and gave feedback. Like the biggest like things I had was just like how do you like present fan fiction to people and get them like understand like fan culture because like fan culture is like it's a lot of money. Like fan
Yep.
fiction drives a lot of the market right now for a lot of TV shows and everything else and like content that's going on, but like for an audience that probably doesn't care about it, you know, it's kind of hard to get that across. The importance of fan fiction, I would say. Like literally, I had a competition before at Launch You where a lot of the judges were like, "Fan fiction, what's why?" And when I stated the reason, they were still like, kind of like, I guess they didn't really care until that one judge who kind of had a daughter who did a lot of literature, kind of knew the connection. So it's just like how do you get the people who don't care and the people who kind of understand literature to kind of come together to understand like this is a good business idea.
Right, right. You try and bring the cultures together, the nons and the caring, and bring them into one. You're trying to mix them. So I see what you're doing with that, and I think it's even better that you were able to do that because the fact that you're able to meld them to convince them, like, yeah, guys, this is a good concept that could do really, really big things. I think is even better because I think that's even the whole goal of a competition like that. If you're able to do that for a selected group of judges, you can do that for thousands of people, hell, even millions if you really put your mind to it. So at that point, okay, you did your thing, you talked, everyone did their thing, and then hey, congratulations, you won. So what was your reaction? So how did you learn you win? Did he tell you that the same day of the competition, or did like was this like something you learned later that day? Like walk me through how that kind of winning feeling went.
I think it was literally the day of the competition I found out, and I was so because they put me on because we had it was like you would go, they would take the people off screen and put them on screen during the pitch. And so they were like, for the first place prize, and they said, my startup, I was just like, wait, what? Because I was very like certain like I was gonna get this. Like, I'm ready to just put on my clap face and like my poker face on this. And so I was very surprised.
I mean, dude. I mean, that's insane. So when you
Oh, sorry. So, like, one of the people that I compete against, I saw her in another program I was a part of too. So I thought she was gonna get it, but I
mm,
guess I got it. And so, yeah.
hey man, you look when you get the W's, you take them, you keep it pushing. You know, so you won launch you, and if I recall, the cash there was the cash prize like what 2 grand was it or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you use that to kind of help fund your business. So let's kind of dive more into your business because I know we kind of touched on it throughout the learning a lot you, but like if you had to give someone like a pretty much a brief description of what it is, how would you kind of say it?
So for repeat the question again. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, you're good. So if you had to give someone a brief description, like a little elevator pitch of what your business is, how would you go about saying it?
Oh, so Paper AI is basically we use AI to create customized creative fiction. That's pretty much the elevator pitch. Because we realize when we used to say GPT-3, people would be very confused, so we would just say AI.
I mean, hey, I think that's also important that you're good or able to do an elevator pitch of your thing, because a lot of people, when I work with clients, when I'm freelancing, they tell me about their businesses, and I'm like, hey, look, man, I don't need no whole encyclopedia. I don't need no 10-page PDF. What is your business in a nutshell? Can you explain it to me without having to refer to your website or your documents? Because that's important to me. Like if the CEO of Walmart's right in front of me, hey, what's Walmart about? Simple. Walmart's about, save money, live better. We got a variety of things at this kind of price. Cool. Like that's all I need to know. If specifically you gotta be specific products, okay, fine. But just give me the great overview. And then if you caught my attention, great. I want details then. And I mean, that's kind of how they always told us to sell elevator pitches when I was kind of being educated on those type of things.
Yeah.
but to hear about your business, how that in the elevator pitch sounds, it sounds really cool. So, now you want to launch you. It's been now because you won last year, if I recall, correct?
Yes.
It's been a while. So, how has winning launch you helped your business?
So, well, I guess like with like getting the confidence of like winning Launch You, um, we won Pharrell's Black Ambition Prize, the college prize. We got like 50K from Pharrell, so that was pretty cool.
Okay, man. So you just racking it in. Like you got money. So yeah. So yeah. How yeah. Add the 50K, 2K. Yeah. So how yeah. So talk to me about that. Yes, I know people at home. I got a little hood over there, but let's be black thumb professional tip. Um, after winning all that money, how has that definitely helped you guys with your business?
So, like originally, okay, because like when you're in college student, you're like, we can pay ourselves. But I
Uh,
was like,
uh,
as a CEO, I was just like, we need to like be serious about this. And I think like when I won, like during the whole summer, I was basically stressed out and like winning like different grants, different programs, and it was really amazing, but I was so, like, not happy, and I was about to put in my application for Y Combinator, and if you don't know what Y Combinator is, like, it's, like, the best accelerator program, in the world. Like, the best of the best startups go to Y Combinator, and they I was given a referral from one of their, like, one of the VCs who helped Y Combinator a lot, and I was about to put my application in, but I realized like I don't wanna. I can't do this right now. I was like having like almost like a lot of breakdowns, like mentally. I was just like, let me take a break with this, because it was just top of just like being a balancing act, of doing different things, having like co-founder conflicts as well. I just couldn't deal with everything. Especially I was away from my parents during that summer. It was like a mess. And so like I had to take like a 3 months break away from Paper AI. And now I'm back mentally better and actually won a pitch competition like 2 weeks ago that I was also unprepared for.
Okay. So look, bro, I'm gonna keep it real with you, And yes, on the H and Beyond podcast, Steven is losing composure. I know. She's winning contest after contest in the span of a year, people, a year. And I'm not talking. She's not winning small money. She's winning big, not funny money, big money. Like oh my God. If Marilyn was here, she'd be just giving you the look like, bro, like she's making us look like we ain't even surviving out here. I'm like, nah, I know, bro. So dude, no. That's a good thing. I'm no look, more life to you on that one. I think it's really inspirational to hear and also you're doing this with the level of preparedness you've been telling me. You've said, no, I haven't been prepared. Bro, you telling me you just walking in these things like, yeah, bro, my skills, I just can win this with skills. Like, okay, cool, win this with skills. That's what I'm hearing. Cause that's even a doper to me. I mean, you making me look even better in most places because I'm kind of like that myself. Because a lot of people think I'm really good at what I do. I am, but it's like it's a skill thing. Like I can walk into something not knowing majority of what's going on and make it look sensational just because I built the skills. And that's why I'm hearing from you. Like, look, I don't prepare as much, or like sometimes I kind of over procrastinate, but when it comes to the job, I'll get it done. And that's why I hear a lot from you, and especially because you just won a competition 2 weeks ago. Was that a cash prize with that, or just like a little,
It was a
just
cash prize. It was a part of like this fellowship thing. Shout out to Black girls in tech. They had like a fellowship program for students who were in tech. And it was just like who wanted to be in tech, technology and whatever. And I was part of the fellows, and I was just like, oh damn, I forgot we got a pitch competition at the end of this. Let me put in my pitch. And so I almost like the last day up, I was just like, oh my God, I didn't send in my pitch deck. because I wanted to redo it, but I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to redo it. I like how it is right now, my old pitch deck. So I just edited a few things and just sent it over. And I
That,
remember the day of the competition was a mess for me.
mm,
I just, I was okay. So this is so bad. I overslept a little bit. I did not have like the proper clothes ready. Like my hair was a mess. Was still in the afro, which is fine, but like I was just not. I did not like with the other contestants. They were like all in like these business suits, and I was just in my like like a random like not sweatshirt, but it was like a semi-professional sweatshirt. Um not with any like good lighting, with like my Animal Crossing Zoom background, ready to present. I'm truly like I feel like really bad because like I feel like because my topic is so like representative of me, like I'm just a hyper fan, but I know what I'm talking about. I know about fans. I know the money. I know my background. It's just I just have really bad luck.
you sure about that?
Okay, I have good luck. I just knew just during the whole presentation, I just knew not to take myself seriously. I think that's like the biggest thing that kind of has helped me across like the entire year of growth. I just like not taking myself super seriously during this competition because like at the end of the day, at least someone who I'll support in the future will get the money if it's not me. And I don't want to feel like almost like in a sense of like like pressed that I'm trying so hard like I should have gotten this, I should have gotten this, because like maybe the judges may have just like someone's project better, like it's people's favorite, people have favorites, people just like certain topics better, and so
Right.
like not being super serious about it, but also like trying to put your best foot forward has helped a lot. Um, but that being said, like that $1,000 from that pitch competition will help me a lot. And like doing a lot of just readjustment for my model because damn, GPT costs so much money.
Yeah, yeah. It's not even. There's not really much to add on that. You just hit it. It just costs a lot. Let's just be real. It costs money. Um, see, there that the fact that you like you have you have kind of made this a very interesting podcast, and it's just because I've never heard the amounts of money being made from just competitions that you've done in the span of a year. Again, I know I'm repeating that, but it's just like it's crazy. But it's also very important. I mean, important to acknowledge and showcase. Like when people say, like, "Yeah, bro, I never heard of someone doing that." Well, hey, check out this podcast episode. People have done that. She's done it. Multiple times, and sometimes she hasn't even prepared much for it. And that's another thing. Like, I mean, I've met some cats in San Francisco who are like that. They'll walk into meetings with like sweatpants and everything. Is that for business professional? No, don't ever do that. Like, I think keep in mind of where they work at. Because
Yeah,
I never even, because when I have to mention where they work at, a lot of these guys are freelancers who go into an office that technically they're not full time people. They're only on a contract there for probably a month or two max, maybe long term if the project needs it. So they have a lot of freedom to walk in, where some typical, like, a lot of people will say compare them to Silicon Valley kids, but
yeah.
they're not Silicon Valley kids because those kids are more business casual. Those guys
Mhm.
are literally walking in there like in a sweatpants and hoodie combo you wear to class in college. And sometimes the sweatpants and maybe some maybe I don't know. It depends. They have different fits. And that also someone who's done that himself. Like I can even attest to this. Like guys, not everyone walks into an office wearing business casual. There's legit some offices you just walk in there with that chill vibe. But you want to keep, if you want to make an impression, make sure you dress kind of a little bit. Like don't look like a bum on your first day. That's especially your first day. Um, but like so we talked. So yeah, the kind of sum it all up. We talked about a lot of things. Your journey from childhood to where you are now, and you've done a lot of things in your current time. But one of the last ones I want to highlight is and I know you can't talk much about it, but you are an intern at a very interesting place in America.
Ah.
So based on what you can talk about, would you like to explain to the lovely podcast what it is?
Okay, so I am R&D intern, R&D engineering intern at New York Times for basically their R&D department, and I focus a lot on natural language processing,
Okay.
which is my research I do. When I used to do research under Apple under natural language processing. I also do research under NYU's undergraduate fellow program with natural language processing. So this is just another research geared gig for me.
Yep. It's just let's go down the list, guys. Just let's keep so you guys are
No.
up to date here. Shows launch you. She did that. Black girls rock. Black girls in tech. She did that. Let's see. Also, everyone. We're gonna let me. So everyone do it. Here's everyone at home. Let's do what I'm doing right now. On the left side of your hand, that's the money counter. On the right side, it's competitions one. That's that counter.
I
So
can
right
actually
now.
go through a full list of the competitions because this is technically the second company I made. Because this is the first time solo being a main CEO for a company, but I co-founded another startup where I helped raise their pre-seed.
How old are you?
That's my age. I'm 22.
You're 22? You're 22?
Yeah.
You're 22, and you've done all that stuff at the age of 22? Bro, holy, like people are gonna come on this, they're gonna listen to this and be like, yo, he's over exaggerating. No, I'm not. You come on this podcast and listen to her at age of 22 do all that stuff, making all that money. Yeah, obviously some of that money's going towards her business, stuff like that, of course. But the fact that she's making that, doing these stuff, winning, in some ways she's winning, you gotta give it to her on that one. I mean,
But
golly.
I've also been failing a lot. I have failed so much.
And
Oh
that
my
is
god.
also important to know because just as much as you got the W's here, I'm happy you're also acknowledging your L's because there's people who just like really harp on their W's more than their L's. So the last question I was going to ask you is you've acknowledged you failed a lot in life, right? So
Yeah.
what are some of the lessons you basically learned from it?
I would say I have a hard time like delegating, like relying on people. Like that's the hardest thing ever to do. Especially like it's just a hard thing for me to do. Um, I feel like one like the biggest takes, especially since I didn't really have much of a big network in college. It was just like having like a group of people that you can rely on, like actually rely on. Is like a big help. I would often say like one of my like best friends, Ime, he got me doing a lot of startups. He would send me a lot of resources. Um, and like he was honestly, he was a great advisor for Paper AI. I see he still is technically an advisor for our startup. He's listed among our advisors. Like, okay, I hate bragging. I hate bragging. We have like Jonah Peretti, which is the CEO of BuzzFeed, as one of our advisors, and then there's my friend eBay, who's also listed as an advisor. So he's on like our big list.
I have no comments, but keep continue. No. There's no. I'm good. I know who that is, so that's even worse. But like, can please continue. If that, because if that's all you had to say, or you had
Yeah,
more.
that's it.
Okay. People are gonna think I'm coming at you attitude. I'm not. I'm just. I have no
No.
more. I have no energy at this point because it's like it's so exciting to hear that stuff, and obviously we got to get you back on to hear about how you doing up more in the life in future episodes for sure. Because man, you're doing a lot of cool things, and like I said, we're
I'm
definitely gonna
probably
have you
gonna
on the show.
stop doing cool things, honestly. I'm so tired.
Nah, that's what everyone says when they get to the high point. It's only even higher they can go at that point. You got this, Chief. Don't worry about it. But look, in that case, I'm gonna wrap up this episode of HU Beyond Podcast. So first and foremost, Georgiana, thank you for coming on and just kind of discussing your freaking amazing life. Well, amazing and also sometimes up and down life. I know you don't like piping yourself up, which I have noticed. Um, but You talked a lot about a lot of cool things you've done, and we appreciate you having you on. And for those listening on Spotify and Anchor FM, be sure to follow the pages so that you are up to date to when we drop episodes up. And also, if you're interested on a college perspective as well, check out HE Flow Podcast, also Anchor FM and Spotify, or check out YouTube videos that we do for it here on YouTube channel at HE Enrichment. For anything we do at HE Enrichment, be sure to check us out on at HE Enrichment on Instagram and Facebook, and maybe eventually Twitter if we ever work around there. I don't know. As any case, it's your host Steven here. We had Georgiana on the podcast, and that has been another episode.